Without a proper understanding of history, we can't truly understand where we have come from and where we may be going. Phillipsburg Manor Historic Site plays a key role in correcting and interpreting the history of the lower Hudson Valley. Through integrated tours and programs designed to inform the public, Phillipsburg Manor seeks to bring to life, through living history presentations, the early life of settlers and slaves in the historic Hudson Valley. Located in Sleepy Hollow, New York, Phillipsburg Manor represents one of the oldest national historic landmarks along the East Coast. However, what makes Phillipsburg Manor unique is the intricate story it tells concerning the lives of African slaves and their culture, which is essentially intertwined into the fabric of the American experience. Site director Tom Thacker described the mission of Phillipsburg Manor.
Phillipsburg Manor is a colonial-era milling and farming complex, and what makes it particularly unique, especially in the context of both the North New York and Lower Westchester, is this was a northern plantation in 1750 where there were 23 enslaved Africans who lived here and operated this very, very important, what at that point was a very, very important commercial complex.
He described that Phillipsburg Manor plays a key and important role in describing the life of African slaves in the early 1700s.
By understanding the history of how people did things, I think school students, the general public, gain a true appreciation of how this country was built and the incredible labor that went into building it.
Phillipsburg Manor was essentially an African slave community. Frederick Phillips began importing Africans to work as slaves on what essentially became a 52,000-acre northern plantation. The manor served as the lower mills for the plantation and was run entirely by African slaves, with only sporadic trips being made by Mr. Phillips to oversee the work of the mill. Lavada Nahan, a living historian working at Phillipsburg Manor, commented that the life of slaves on the property was a community.
They have a little bit more of an opportunity to have a solid community, one perhaps based more on the traditions of a West African village than someone who is enslaved in New York. Also within Manhattan, most people only held like one or two slaves. So there's a great sense of isolation, or even on tenant farms, record indicate most people only had like one or two enslaved people.
Nahan commented that it is important to correct errors in history.
As a Black American or an African American working here at Phillipsburg Manor, it is my pleasure to share with people from all over the world and all over the country the history of enslavement in New York. It is a subject that most of us who grew up in my generation didn't learn in school. It is a correction of history that has happened in New York within the last 15 to 20 years.
Nahan said it is important to remember that even if the life of some slaves is better than others, slavery is still slavery.
And there is always the desire to make slavery in the North better than what was in the South. Enslavement is enslavement.
Slavery in the colonies makes up an important part of the American psyche. The role of preservation and interpretation at Phillipsburg Manor is crucial. A complete and corrected understanding of history is important to fully understand and appreciate the American experience. This is John Bianchi reporting for the World Journalism Institute here at Phillipsburg Manor.